Welcome everybody to episode 33 of the Cover 2 presented by Tigervision. I'm Patrick Neal with Grayson Mann. As always, we are back in the studio after a little bit of a hiatus from the studio last week.
A little bit of a break. It's much better to be in here. I miss Kieran's spot right here, screaming at me and Patrick about the Giants. They're 2-0.
They are 2-0.
Did not see that one coming when we first filmed that, but you know what? All surprises are welcome in this show. So
yeah, I mean, if it ends up like the Giants make the playoffs.
Oh, we're never gonna hear the end of it.
Oh my gosh.
Especially you, because you're one of his better friends.
Yeah, that is gonna be tough. But you know, I'm holding out that doesn't happen.
I think you should, but I don't know.
It would be catastrophic for the brand. Yeah. So. Yeah. Anyways, enough talking about the Giants because, you know, who really wants to hear about the Giants? Although, again, they are 2-0. We're just going to kind of hop around the league, I think.
Yep.
You know, maybe give a few overreactions as we did a few weeks prior. Why don't we start with the Chiefs and Chargers? You know, Thursday Night Football, first game.
First game on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, exactly. First game with Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit.
That was that was a special broadcasting duo. Kirk Herbstreit's got to be losing sleep by the minute because he's going from X, Y, and Z to college game day, and then in some cases he's going to a totally new location for a separate game to call. He's a busy guy.
Respect to him, though.
Yeah.
Like that is a lot of dedication, a lot of work.
That's the dream. But yeah, let's the talk about the game here. It was very much a roller coaster. If you're a Chargers fan, it's pretty much the same swan song of you get up in the fourth quarter, third quarter, it feels like the team's making strides, and then the Chiefs found their way to crawl their way back, and then Herbert gets hurt. I don't know this. I believe he's going to play. I don't know the severity of.
Yeah, so they said it was fractured rib cartilage.
Jeez.
Which
sounds horrible.
I didn't know you could fracture rib cartilage, but
that sounds awful.
It sounded a little he did not look comfy by any means, but. To go in, I'm sure you've all seen the throw by now. Like, it's what, 3rd and 2. He's rolling out, plenty of space to run. Dude throws it away because, like, he's hurting so badly. Can't even run for the 2 yards and, like, slide or anything.
He's, like, throwing it like this, I think. He was just,
he's
holding on it for one hand.
I don't know. It looked like he needed to be, like, oiled up or something.
Yeah.
But the next play, 4th and 2, got to convert. Absolute dot to Gerald Everett.
Yes.
On a rope. That was crazy. I can't believe he made that throw.
Oh, I'd be crying. That's just like it would be so painful. Because like everyone that I talk to, especially with injuries, they always say that the ribs are the most painful injury to deal with because you really can't fix it. There's no cast you can really put around it. There's no, you could take some Advil and just be like, hope for the best, but there's not like a surgery that you can necessarily do that's convenient. Like you sprain an ankle, you just stay off of it for a while. You break an arm, you just don't use it for a while. But like ribs, man, this is the scientific part of Cover 2 that we strive for. But man, that's gotta hurt. What he's got that, as they say, he's got that dog in him.
Yeah. Well, you know the doctor that's gonna was operating on him.
He's
or whatever,
getting sued
is the same
Taylor.
Doctor that punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung.
Yeah.
Like, how is he still employed by the Chargers?
Yeah, I think that guy had Herbert on his fantasy team for sure. He was like, I gotta. Sorry, Tyrod, I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you're Justin Herbert, why you're letting him near your body, but
yeah, it's the doctor from Family Guy that can't pronounce certain things. But.
Yeah. But anyway, speaking of broken ribs and rib cartilage and all that. Derwin James, dude, absolutely.
Boom.
He went full WWE mode on Travis Kelce. I don't know how Travis Kelce got up after that. I mean, Travis Kelce's a big dude. I also don't know how Derwin James picked him up.
Yeah, that's weight room right there.
Yeah.
That was the hit of the night. That probably was the hit so far of the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. But I love those. Nothing compares to a good old Ben Boulware hit where he pretty much throws him. But that is I don't know how much Travis Kelce weighs, but he's a big dude.
I can look it up.
That's an impressive feat. First of all, you have to not only tackle him and stop his momentum, but you also have to pick him up and throw him to the ground.
He's a solid 250.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, if you're basically deadlifting 250, throwing it over your shoulder like a sack of potatoes, then bang, just
Grown man strength right there.
yeah. Derwin James, that was absolutely crazy.
I mean, my arms hurt when I take the groceries from my car to my apartment. So like I can't imagine like Derwin James like just.
What's your all-time record for how many bags you can fit on?
Dude,
in
I've
one trip?
made a couple times where I've had like 10 bags and I'm able to get 5 and 5 and make
Okay,
it.
that's solid.
I feel like that's a good. I got long arms, so I have like be able to get multiple
big
bags.
surface area.
Get multiple things on at once. This is nowhere related to it, but this is important stuff.
I went to the grocery yesterday.
Yeah, how we
And I
did?
got
How many
so
trips?
I wanted one trip, but I mean it was only stuff that I was eating, so
Right.
it wasn't too many. But I had I think probably around 6 to 7 bags on one arm, and then I was holding another one. That way I could like open the door and unlock my door.
That's right.
But everybody knows about the one trip challenge to bring all the groceries in.
Because why take multiple trips when you can just get it done and
Yeah,
and
exactly.
put them,
So
put them
comment
away?
down below your all-time record for
groceries.
for how many grocery bags you can fit in one trip.
And talking about elite trips,
Yeah.
let's talk about the most elite quarterback of all time.
Well, I'm trying to see how that flows, but okay.
And Joe Flacco.
Oh, okay, okay.
Talking about the Joe Flacco.
You can say he's taken many trips to many different teams because
he's a one trip.
he's a journeyman.
Like in the playoffs, it was win or go home, and he took one trip to the Super Bowl and won it, and he never went back for a second.
Yeah.
But he didn't lose it either.
That
so
was a great segue.
it was
Fantastic.
I think if I had another try, I'd still find a way to mess it up. But yeah, this game was wild. This was one where I kind of thought it was over. So it's one where you got the red zone set up, or like Sunday Ticket, whatever you're watching, and it's 30-17, and you're going, okay, I need to watch some other games because the Browns have Nick Chubb. They're gonna be able to run out the clock, theoretically, and Nick Chubb did a service for his fantasy owners, but not to the Browns. This was, and more on like the serious level, the Browns need every win they can get with Deshaun Watson out till week 12. So if the Browns could stay afloat in a heavily stacked AFC, this was a win that they needed. This was not one they could afford to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Nick Chubb was thinking that with a minute 55 left, you go up 30-17.
Yeah, 31, I guess, because there were an extra point that was missed.
That's true. But you go up 30-17, a minute 55 left. The Jets didn't have any timeouts left, so like Grayson was saying, theoretically, the Browns could have run out the clock and been fine. Nick Chubb decides to score, and he isn't thinking that Joe Flacco is going to connect with Corey Davis on like a however many yards play it was, like 50, 60.
Yeah.
And then they're going to also recover an onside kick. Nick Chubb's not thinking that, so I don't really fault him for it. But it's kind of like the Todd Gurley situation a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
When he tried not to score, but his momentum took him into the end zone. And yeah, I mean, good work for the Jets, man.
Good for them. I think this is their first September win in a long, long time.
It's the first time the Jets, the Giants, the Lions, and like the Jags have all won together in like 3,700 days.
What a day for football.
So Garrett Wilson also looked promising.
He did.
Well. He looked
The
really,
Ohio
really
State
good.
product. And I don't know how this team functions when Zach Wilson gets back because he's still kind of Joe Flacco. You can insert him into any team and he can try to figure it out just because he's so experienced. But with Zach Wilson, since he's still learning with his career, I don't know if they take a step. I don't know when he's supposed to actually come back. I think it's week 4.
Somewhere around that. But yeah, it is.
Flacco's keeping him alive.
Are they going to want to? Say the Jets are 3-1.
Do they stick with him?
Yeah.
This is the. We'll have to revisit this if the Jets are 3-1.
Yeah. But you want to talk about the Patriots win?
Yes, I do. Yes,
that
I
was
do.
smooth.
Yes, I do.
That was real smooth.
Thank you.
If you're listening on podcast form,
Yeah, you just hear whoosh.
Grayson just did a quick little hat flip.
I had to do it for
reveal the Patriots logo.
I had to do it for at least this. It's Victory. It's Victory Tuesday, but it was also Victory Monday, and it'll be Victory Wednesday. This is going to be a weird season, so I got to take everything that I can get. But I'm going to just quickly summate this because this game was a snoozer if you weren't a fan of either team. It's time for Kenny Pickett or it's time for Matt Canada to get fired for the Steelers OC, because that offense is as vanilla as I've seen in a long time. They have Deontay Johnson, they have Chase Claypool, they have Freiermuth, they have Najee Harris. There's a lot of weapons to work with, but it feels like you don't have to really worry about it. The Patriots only had to score 17 points, and it was a classic Belichick game. They did a little something on offense with Aguilar. They did a little something on defense, getting sacks and an interception with Jalen Mills, and they had a special teams play that resulted in red zone territory. So, and they also, Steelers missed T.J. Waddle a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers do have very, very good skill position players,
They do.
but you're missing an offensive line and you're missing a quarterback.
Yep.
Which, arguably the two most important parts of an offense, at least on the field.
Oh yeah.
So you can't do too much with Mitch Trubisky as quarterback, unfortunately.
Do you throw Kenny Pickett out there, just kind of see what you got in him?
I kind of agree with you. Might as well see. It's going to be a tough division. I think what you're going to do with Mitch Trubisky. Probably not make the playoffs in a loaded AFC. So why not try it? See what happens.
You know what you got in Mitchell Trubisky. Kenny Pickett, he looked pretty solid in the preseason. I don't know if he necessarily can. I mean, he could elevate them and maybe provide a little bit of a spark and a little bit of a pep in their step. Just kind of saying, hey, Mitch Trubisky just got benched. He was the starter throughout all training camp. How safe is my job? Kind of accelerate that process a little quicker. And even if the Steelers don't do that well and Kenny Pickett performs, they at least know they have their guy.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of, it's an awkward situation because I think Tomlin wants to win at all costs, not all costs, but he's a guy that he can pretty much make any roster work. So maybe he makes it work with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
So
maybe. How about Dolphins-Ravens?
Holy cow.
Dolphins win 42-38. Yeah, I mean, I was listening to, if you know the Ringer podcast.
I've heard of it, but I don't really listen to it often.
So they were talking about, they compared, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle kind of to like Steph Curry in a way that they spread the field out. In the way Steph Curry spreads the court out. And it makes it where, you have to move defenders in order to cover that. And which that leads to, there being a ton of open space to exploit. And that's exactly what the Dolphins did this week. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle both had 2 touchdowns, both had like 150-some yards, somewhere around that.
Video game numbers.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. And that kind of elite speed, that very few people in the NFL have, very few teams have. The Dolphins have 2 guys with that kind of speed.
It's nice to have one, but when you have 2, I think Tyreek Hill said,
Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds as well.
Gesicki's not bad either.
Yeah, Gesicki, not very good with the gritty, but.
No, it looks like he was trying to it looked like.
He looked like a robot is what he looked like. But he made a fantastic catch.
Oh, yeah.
So, Tua, he's, I believe, he's first in passing yards through 2 weeks.
Who would have thought?
He had 6 touchdowns this week. So, Tua probably not an upper tier quarterback, but he had some, underthrows. He was throwing a lot to wide open Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but.
Isn't that what he did at Alabama, though, for the most part with those receivers? Is just throw it to the right spot.
Yeah, if he has very good receivers, he'll be solid. So he's kind of, I don't want to say like a merchant of this offense and this skill position, but he's kind of benefiting a lot from it. So.
Oh yeah, I'd definitely say that. I mean, any quarterback with the 2 fastest receivers in football right now, or in the NFL, it's just.
Don't disrespect John Ross like that.
John Ross isn't. Where is John Ross right now?
Probably.
Is he in a practice squad, tearing his hamstring somewhere? But
I don't know. I'm not positive. I believe last I heard of him, he was on the Giants.
It makes me, as a Patriots fan, feel very well that we only had one of those plays, and it really only happened because we couldn't tackle properly, which gets fixed later on in the season. We kind of held Miami in check, so it makes me feel pretty good about where they're at. But if I'm a Ravens fan, when you're up 35-14, you gotta feel like what happened here? It felt like they got picked apart. Tyreek Hill said it was like Mike McDaniel was calling plays out of Madden, running 4 verticals every time. Maybe it sounds really crazy and just ridiculous when you think about it, but in the grand scheme of things, run what works. Just run
Yeah,
Jalen
exactly.
Waddle on the little crosser and run Tyreek Hill 50 yards down the field. One of them's going to be open. And
Yeah.
just let Tua dink and dunk in that kind of sense. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The Dolphins are going to be a weird team this year because someone is eventually going to figure it out and exploit that and make Tua have to make the hard throws. And that's probably when we'll see
Yeah.
how
But, I mean,
what
he's got some good accuracy on
He
him.
does.
It's just kind of the arm strength.
The arm strength. Have you seen the video where they flip the
Yes, I
flip
did.
the thing and it
I would-
changes the way he?
It does look.
It looks a lot better. Maybe he's just left-handed
I
quarterback.
mean, it's just people are not used to watching a left-handed quarterback.
Oh, no.
And it gets them taken used to. So, like you said, Lamar did really well. Rashad Bateman looked good. Devin Duvernay ran back the opening kickoff.
Yeah, that
so
was kinda cool.
That was pretty sick.
I watched the game with a Ravens fan. I've never seen someone in so much pain in my life.
Yeah,
So
but
sad.
it's only week 2. I think the Ravens will be fine.
Oh yeah, I'm very worried about next week. But
Yeah.
that's for another time.
They're going to get some of their running game back as well.
They
So
are.
They should be in a good spot. How about Cardinals Raiders?
Okay.
Um,
The Kyler Murray comeback.
yeah,
This was a tale of two halves because one half you think, oh, the Raiders are going to figure this out, and then the next one, Kyler Murray's doing this video game-like performance where he. Did you see the play? It was like 16 seconds long. Where he.
it was
That sounds
like
quick.
85 total yards traveled.
Yeah.
for a
In real
2-point
time, that
conversion.
sounds super quick, but in the NFL, like he's usually about 3 to 5 seconds of play. So he's running here, and he runs over here, then he runs over there, and then he finds his way into the end zone. I don't know. We've probably actually said this on the show. He runs around like a toddler,
Yeah.
like an angry toddler.
I mean, yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury, he's got to be very, very thankful for Kyler this week.
Oh, yeah.
Because that fourth quarter, second half, overtime, it was all Kyler Murray. Also, Isaiah Simmons and Byron Murphy.
The Hunter Renfrow Clemson on Clemson crime, where
Yeah.
Isaiah Simmons strips Hunter Renfrow, and I don't know if they ended up taking it to the house, but
They did.
They
And
did?
I
Oh.
was about to say Byron Murphy looked like he almost fumbled it before he walked in the end zone, which, Deshaun Jackson did that a few years ago.
He did.
That would have been. I saw him pick it up and score, and it looked like he dropped it a little earlier, and I'm like, wait. They were reviewing the play for a while, but they just kept showing the hit, and I'm like, go back and look at the actual touchdown because it kind of looked like he dropped it earlier. I believe he got it over right before, but it was
Can you
close.
imagine though, if that that situation in overtime never would have survived?
Yeah,
never would have survived.
that would have been tough.
Would
but
not have made it out of the stadium.
It was very tough for Hunter Renfrow. 2 fumbles and 3 plays in overtime.
Yeah.
Not very clutch. I mean, everybody knows the play of him, running for the game-winning touchdown in the college football championship a few years ago.
Yep.
But not super clutch from Hunter Renfrow this weekend, unfortunately.
He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We love Hunter.
He'll make sure he's on the jugs machine this week.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm a little worried for Cliff Kingsbury because if you have to have Kyler do that every week, it's not going to always end up well. But
It's not going to happen. The Cardinals just need to survive till
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins gets back.
yeah, how about the Eagles?
The Eagles
last night.
Okay.
Kinda hop around.
The Monday Night Football madness.
Yeah,
Truly hopping around.
big play Slay.
Big play.
That is his nickname for a reason. 2 interceptions, 4 pass breakups. He looked fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
He dropped what could have been his second interception. Then the next play, Kirk Cousins, primetime Kirk Cousins is going to primetime Kirk Cousins, throws it right back to him for an easy pick. He owned Kirk Cousins last night.
Kirk Cousins was not very good. This was the game that I was closely paying attention to because my roommate had Jalen Hurts in fantasy and needed him to go play out of his mind for them to win. He was very close, but they lost. I think he ended up losing by 6 points.
Yeah.
So he was a touchdown off.
All I'm going to say is my Eagles Super Bowl pick is not looking too bad right now.
They look like the most cohesive team in the NFC right now.
Yeah.
They feel like they have it all figured out. I mean, Green Bay, there's still a little bit of question mark with the receiver core.
They had a nice celebration, though.
They did have a very nice celebration, so
Yeah.
maybe I'll give them some
Aaron
bonus
Jones
points.
pouring the, how do you pronounce it? Ayahuasca?
Oh,
Whatever.
goodness.
Whatever Aaron Rodgers admitted to drinking, going crazy with pregame or
I
whatever
think it was
during the season.
Percocets, but
It was some sort of
YouTube might flag me
random
for
thing.
that,
But,
whatever.
you know, Aaron Jones poured a little bit to everybody. They were going nuts. But anyways, as you were saying.
The Rams look very sketch right now.
Yep, I agree with that.
The Niners are a mystery which we'll talk about. The Cardinals, no. The Buccaneers, they're
Think I might
good. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Their life without Gronk is hard. Then everyone else in the NFC is kind of just sitting in the aisle waiting. And I had talked about this before. I was like, man, Philly's got a unique opportunity. They really built around Jalen Hurts. They got A.J. Brown. He took an unbelievable step within his game.
I mean, they had the side-by-side comparison with him and Michael Vick last night.
And he was running around.
Over 300 passing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns.
He was making good throws, too.
He started, 10 for 10?
He did.
Yeah,
he was slicing and dicing.
Good work, Jalen Hurts.
Good work. You're making Patrick look good.
Oh, yeah.
My Bills Super Bowl prediction that probably everyone's
that also
like,
looks good, though.
well, everyone's probably like, oh, duh, but.
That looks solid. All right, why don't we do a little overreactions? We did this a few weeks ago. We need a name for this little segment.
Yeah, we need to figure out something clever.
What about I don't know, like the hitters and quitters?
Hitters and quitters?
Yeah, because we'll do a positive, we'll do a negative each week.
Okay.
You want to start negative? You want to start positive?
This is a night show. Let's do positive first.
Okay, positive first.
Patrick, why don't you go first?
Have you heard of a little name? Not a little name, actually, a
heard it.
large name. Almond Ra St. Brown.
It rings a bell.
Among Us St. Brown.
Among Us.
This dude,
Fantasy name.
is he top 10 wide receiver in the league?
He's very, very talented. I think I was looking at your Twitter, and he was saying that his stats in the last 10 games, I mean, he's producing.
Yeah, I mean, like,
you like to read it off.
his worst game in the last, 8 games? Yeah, worst stat line in the last 8 games. 8 catches for 73 yards. That is his worst stat line in the last 8 games.
That's not bad.
He's had over 8 catches, all 8 of those games. He's had a touchdown. He's had 8 touchdowns combined. You know, he had 2 this past weekend, and then he had 1 game where he didn't catch a touchdown. But
Okay.
dude's legit.
He may be that guy.
Yeah, like Almond Ra, the Sun God, which is also perhaps the coolest nickname in the NFL.
That's legendary. You know you got to perform when you got the Sun God as your nickname.
He is elite, and it is. I think it's time that we start talking about him in that upper tier, not just fantasy wide receivers, but receivers in real football. Put him up there with, maybe not the top spot, but put him up there with
He's in that upper echelon.
Yeah, I think if we're doing overreactions, put Amon Ra St. Brown in the top 10 receivers list.
I like that. It's very positive, and it's also the Lions. So who's gonna hate that? Jared Goff literally looks to him every play.
Yeah.
Might save his career because it looked like he was kind of fizzling out in Detroit last year, and he's been really he's been making great decisions with the ball.
Yeah.
With Detroit, they're 1-1. It's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. What about your positive?
My positive overreaction is not only did the 49ers make one of the top signings in the offseason with Jimmy Garoppolo, but that will reward them with an NFC West title with Jimmy G. And here's my reasoning here. The Seattle Seahawks, you can automatically take them out of the equation because Geno Smith had his whole, they wrote me off, but I didn't write back. And then 49ers said, yeah, but we're going to take care of it. They took care of him pretty nice. The Rams are, at this point, I thought last week when they lost to Buffalo, that they just ran into a juggernaut, and it was just kind of the emotion of that Super Bowl championship, all that stuff. You can chalk it up as that. And then you get this Atlanta game, and they're up 31-10 or something, and they nearly collapse. I'm a little concerned about the Rams right now. They may figure it out, and then the Cardinals, I just don't simply believe in them at this point in time, especially, like we said, if Kyler Murray has to do that every single week to win, it's not going to happen. But with Jimmy G and the 49ers, I don't think that there's a backup quarterback situation that is better suited. There's a better backup quarterback situation than what the 49ers have right now because Jimmy G, I believe he's 31-14 as a starter with San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan knows how to run that offense with him. He's comfortable with it. It's not like they're throwing Cooper Rush out there for 6 to 8 weeks. You're throwing a guy that's taken this team to the Super Bowl and is a dropped interception away from probably going to play your Bengals last year in the Super Bowl. They've historically owned the Rams in the regular season as well. They beat them to get to the playoffs to go on that run. I think that this is Jimmy G is also, it's like a second chance to prove himself to where he could be a top free agent in this next class. And when this season's all said and done, I really like this 49ers team. They're not having to play the development game either with Trey Lance, where he's still, I think it was like he had thrown less than 1,000 passes in the last like 3 years. But this is a team that doesn't have to kind of reshuffle things. They can pick up pretty much where they left off in January. So I really like San Francisco. Not necessarily as a Super Bowl favorite, but definitely to win this division.
I mean, Jimmy G's been there, done that. He looked so happy.
Oh my God, I felt so good for him too.
He was smiling so much, during the game, even after the game, signing autographs, stuff like that. He had the biggest smile on his face. Maybe
he's gonna get a nice pay raise too.
Maybe like plotted something to like
he's just
get Trey Lance injured or something. But the whole Trey Lance thing is so interesting. I almost picked this as I'm gonna kind of transition to my negative overreaction, but the 49ers are gonna have a serious issue next year.
They will.
Because Trey Lance has started 20 games since high school.
Yeah.
That is it. That is all he has started since high school. Like, that is not good. He's going to go into year 3. He's going to be able to be extended, and they're not going to know what they have with him.
This was the season to really figure that out.
Exactly. Like, Trey Lance has got to play. That was like his biggest thing.
He's just got to get game time experience.
That
Snaps,
was his biggest
reps,
thing. He's got to get reps. And he's going to go into year 3, and nobody's going to know what he is.
It's a big question mark.
So,
and that monsoon game in Chicago certainly didn't help because you can't really chalk that up. It was a weather game.
So it's going to kind of transition a bit into my negative overreaction.
Okay.
Is the 2021 QB class going to be the most disappointing QB class of recent memory?
This is interesting.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna kind of put Trevor Lawrence aside because he's looked really good. He's looked very solid these first 2 games. But Justin Fields, 7 passes completed on Sunday night.
And they were in that game. I don't understand what they were doing.
Justin Fields, he had like 70 passing yards. That was it. You have Mac Jones, who.
Careful.
I don't know how much. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how much longer if he's gonna like really be a starting quarterback in this league. Maybe like a year or 2 more.
With New England?
I mean, maybe, but like this offense does not look great.
No.
So that could end up being an issue for him.
Is that him? Are you talking about him starting for New England or just starting in general?
He'll probably be a starter for the majority of his career, but I could see it being a case of like. Someone like, I don't know, maybe someone like comes in, replaces him, and it's like a Jimmy G situation.
Okay.
Just like in San Francisco. You got him, you got Davis Mills. Texans are probably going to take a quarterback in this next class.
I would assume so.
Davis Mills is all right. He's an average quarterback, but they're probably going to take a quarterback in this next draft. And then you've got Zach Wilson, who I don't really believe in. No. So, 4 of the top 5 QBs taken, I'm kind of just like, eh.
I'm like,
they don't really move. They don't really do it for me.
I'm gonna agree with you to an extent. I'm obviously gonna push back because Mac's my quarterback.
That's fair. And he had a solid rookie season.
He had a solid rookie season. One of the best completion percentage for a rookie. And I know a lot of you can say dink and dunk and stuff like that, but I think it's a little too early with this whole offense thing because they were scoring about the same points last year with McDaniels in those first 2 games. The Patriots always do this, and even more so this year. Everything's new. There's new communication. It's the first time in 10 years plus that New England's had to kind of switch up their coordinators with the offense. I think Mac Jones is here to stay, personally. I don't think he is a top 10 quarterback like Kerrigan believes about Daniel Jones. I got to look at reality. I always said if Mac Jones could be stat-wise like a Kirk Cousins, where he kind of he's an efficient pocket passer, then we got it, or a Jimmy G, then we got a quarterback there because New England has a roster and a coach where they can kind of manage without that. But to say that he's not going to be a starter in the next couple of years, maybe. Now let's say Mac Jones starts to struggle and this team misses the playoffs, then there's going to be a conversation. But I think he's earned the right to kind of at least be considered New England's guy for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, but would you say like it's certain he's going to be a starter in like 3 years?
I think I would say so.
Okay.
I'd say I'm about 90% on it.
Gotcha.
If last year had been a disaster and they had been like 6-10 or 6-11, I would have probably jumped on the wagon with you. But he took that team from 2-4 to 10-7 and made the playoffs. Granted, they got wiped off the face of the earth by Buffalo, but I don't know. I know Mac Jones doesn't move the needle for a lot of people, but I think he kind of reminds me of, he doesn't remind me of Tom Brady, but the way he kind of sees the field and sees the game.
Fair enough. I mean, it is an overreaction, so, you know, I can be wrong.
I'm a little sensitive to it too, because I've had to hear the Mac Jones slander for a while.
All right, what's yours to end the show out?
Mine is the Titans will miss the playoffs and Malik Willis will take over. He'll be one of the first QBs to start out of this class as well.
Okay.
That's not necessarily negative because I guess Malik Willis would be like, he'll take that. But the more I think about this Tennessee team and just how underwhelming they appear, number 1 seed in the AFC last year, they lost. Tannehill throws 3 picks. 2 years ago in the playoffs in 2020, they came with a battered, I believe the Baltimore team was pretty battered. They lost that game at home. Tannehill has continued to he earned his contract and it just kind of sinks. So I don't know. I just think this Titans team is going to run into some. That Giants game too was not encouraging at all. I just thought Tennessee should have won that game just in terms of coaching talent. But I just think Tannehill's time is up.
Tennessee does not look the same.
No.
Derrick Henry does not look the same. Tannehill does not look the same. They're missing A.J. Brown a lot. Robert Woods clearly is not the replacement for A.J. Brown that maybe they would have hoped for. Traylon Burks.
Burks is still figuring it out too.
Yeah, it's only been 2 weeks. So, yeah, Tennessee does not look very good. The AFC South in general looks.
The Jaguars could win it.
Does not great. Yeah, I picked the Jaguars to win the AFC South.
You might be right.
Might be right. They're currently winning the division. So, you know, but AFC South in general, Colts
they look
gross. Matt Ryan is washed.
But we should have a wash segment next week. But
yeah, we'll maybe do a wash segment next week. But that's gonna do it for this episode of the Cover 2 presented by Tigervision.
Practice your gritties. Don't be like Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, that was a little rough, but.
I will dislike your comment if you slander Mac Jones in the comment section. That's all I'm going to say.
I got no issue with it. So we didn't get to talk about everything in the NFL that happened this week, but trying to limit it to about 30 minutes an episode. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank Zach for producing in the back. Any last words?
Have a great weekend, guys.
Yeah, have a great week, and we'll see you all next time. Have a good one.